Hi, I'm Helene, and I'm an educator just like you. I am talking about Chapter 3 of Change Wars. Chapter 3 is authored by Sir Michael Barber. And frustration brings about change. What is change? Change is taking action. Action is bringing about effectiveness, putting in reforms. Frustration happens when service people don't have the skills, which is capability. Frustration happens when there are not enough resources to get the job done, which is capacity. Frustration happens when the stakeholders don't have the mindset or buy-in into the needed change, which is the culture. People who provide the services must have or acquire the right skills for the job, such as teachers need certification. To get the jobs done, we also need the right resources. An example is teachers need curriculum materials in order to give the right educational needs to the children. We can train staff, which is capability. We can provide the needed resources, which is capacity. And we can rally the stakeholders to our vision, which is culture. To reform our education system, our government can provide capability, capacity, and culture. Performance management is data that is needed to prove progress, need, and comparison. It helps the public feel that the reform is working. Here you have the data for measurement, and it shows how they're doing compared to others. It's just like IEP data. The data allows the public to see a return on their tax dollars. Strategic direction is the planning and that ensures the rapid learning about the reform. It shows what works and what doesn't work. It also tells us how the environment changes this reformation. It designs the plans to ensure rapid learning. It shows what's working, what doesn't, shows how the environment changes. This is adaptive leadership. So, therefore, government and education are partners. Education is part of the government system. Government and education are intertwined. There are three paradigms of public sector reform. One, command and control. This is top-down approach. The government takes control. In command control, it's good for urban change and can be successful if implemented well, but usually it's not done very well, such as a dictatorship. It's not also much for lasting innovation. Two is quasi-markets. This is where the government controls, but the private sector delivers the service. Examples of this would be contractors, charter schools, the voucher system. This is where the market-like pressure within a public service. The third is devaluation and transparency. This is where the service deliverer has the responsibility of control. It makes public the results and allows for comparisons. It drives performance. It rewards success and a sense of control down to the service people. The control is down to the teachers versus the government officials. Accountability and change comes from one, the government, two, globalization, and three, technology. In enacting change, it's good to start with a guiding coalition. A guiding coalition, one, builds leadership capacity. Two, it's a small group who can lead others to understand the change. And three, the group expands to include others. To have good public services, you need to have good communication, a shared understanding among all stakeholders, and shared commitment among all stakeholders. Everyone has to work towards that vision, towards the long-term goal. A conceptual framework is when the reform happens when the nature of the relationship changes and adapts. As the service improves, the service people and the government will change and adapt. So to do this, you need to have good communication, good dialogue among all the stakeholders, and everyone has to have the vision for change. There are time frames for getting the change done. The first one we think of is the short-term results. Those are those tiny little steps, and each small step is really important. To get that to the long-term goal, which is the long-term results, the world-class performance, you have to go through all those small little steps to get up to the big staircase, up that big staircase. And as you're getting up that big staircase, your confidence is getting bigger and bigger with the progression. Change needs confidence. Confidence has to be among all the stakeholders. And this happens as they get success. When they see the success that they get, all those achievements from the small steps, and see that they're progressing to the long-term goal, they're going to feel better about themselves and they're going to be motivated. And the motivation is going to promote the change. Less top-down government helps with this. They get to have more of the responsibility among themselves. They're getting more ownership of the change. I found a YouTube that was done by Sir Michael Barber, and it's called Getting Every Child into School and Learning. Why Wait? It was very informative. It was very interesting and talked about how schools need to involve all stakeholders around to get the children interested in attending school. In this YouTube video, Sir Barber talks about the roadmap to educating all children. In the roadmap, he says that you have to get every child around. You have to set up data and targets for measurement. You have to have qualified teachers for capacity. You have to encourage public partnerships and support programs. Sir Michael Barber said also, to enact change, you need to build a process, which is a plan. In that, you have to consider collaboration among all stakeholders. Everyone needs to work together towards that vision. You have to have stops and takes. You have to stop, work on that action, that small action, take away the good parts, throw away the old parts, and move forward. And you also have to have data. And the data is going to tell you what is working and what is not, and what needs to be changed. Hi, I looked at Sean Ryan's plop, and the concepts of this chapter 3 that Sean Ryan could use would be good communication, shared understanding, and build up a leadership capacity will help others see the vision for his pre-orientation program. Forging partnerships with the government and community will aid in the analysis of his local environment or his university. They need transparency and also performance management. Then I've looked at my plop. And here, teachers should have the training to collaborate well with parents. They need the capability to discuss student needs with parents and be able to empower the parents to participate. This needs transparency. Teachers have to be open. It needs good communication, shared understanding, and shared commitment.